Hey guys, a few weeks ago I completed this illustration back here and I managed to record most of the process while I was working on it. So I figured I would maybe put together a short video and just take you through the various steps, explain what it is that I'm doing. I hope you like it. So for this particular illustration, I had already done a drawing on my sketchbook, which I really liked. I liked the concept of it, just that I wanted to do something bigger and I wanted to kind of develop this, the concept. So I worked on something bigger. I started off with a sketch, naturally, in pencil, of the main subject, which is the boy, the face, with the hands coming out of its head and the brain. But I left out the chrysanthemums, which I did in the original drawing. I placed them kind of overlapping the face at the bottom of the face because I wanted to actually have the flowers be more of an ornamental element to the whole illustration. I really like drawing hands and brains, so I took my time to kind of sketch them out until I was happy with what they looked like before I started to ink the drawing. So once I was done with the pencil sketch, I chose my fine liners and started to ink the drawing. So once I was done with inking the main subject of the illustration, I started to think about how I could add the chrysanthemum flowers, as I was saying before, as a more decorative element to the illustration. So in order to achieve this, I figured one thing I could do was to leave the flowers colorless, essentially just having the outlines of these chrysanthemums kind of overlapping each other and creating a frame around the main subject. So once I planned that out, I started to sketch the flower frame. So at this stage of the process, as you can see, I didn't go on to inking the flowers straight away, but instead I'm laying down some tape, some masking tape, because I wanted to add a color gradient box behind the main subject, kind of frame it further, right? And obviously that helps to get these kind of crisp lines. Now, why I chose to do this before inking the chrysanthemums was because there is the risk that once you peel off the tape, then some of the ink might come off with it. So I left the pencil, and once I finished with the colors, then I ended up inking the flowers, essentially. peeling the tape off and seeing those crisp lines kind of reveal themselves is always really satisfying. So as far as the colors go, I liked the color palette I chose for the original drawing, so I stuck to that for this one as well. I did want to initially do everything in watercolor, but along the way, while I was doing the shadows on the face, I didn't really like how it was turning out. I used blue to make the shadows, like a dark blue, but yeah, I didn't like how it was turning out, so then I decided to go over it with coloring pencils, and I finished the rest of the shadows with that. In order to create that gradient effect, going from like more translucent to a more vibrant color, I essentially use a very watered down mix and just do layer after layer and just keep adding layers where I want the color to be more saturated. So at this point, once I'm done putting in all the color, the main colors and then the shadows and the highlights, kind of looking at the image, I realize in composition terms that the subject is a bit weak, and that's probably because of the kind of sepia tone outlines, which you don't really see clearly, especially once you've put in the color, right? So then I decide to go over all the outlines, well, not all of them, but of the boy, or anyways the main subject of the drawing. I decide to go over all the outlines with a black fine liner, and once I'm done with that, all that's really left to do is just take off the rest of the masking tape that is holding down the picture and add my signature, and that's the end result. What do you think?